The biggest one that stands out was what I call the Bucks boycott day. And it's not in that.
What do you call that? The Bucks boycott day?
So that's how I referenced it in my brain. Okay. And then I actually ended up doing like a documentary project that I tell this story.
Okay.
And so there's a video project on my YouTube. And
please go and let's go watch it.
Thank you. So I'm a Milwaukee kid, and Kenosha's not that far, and the shooting happens with Jacob Blake. And I feel things. I know we're not that good of friends, but I feel emotions. I feel a lot, and I can feel other people's emotions. So it's fun to talk to you about this because you get it because you were there. We were so isolated.
Yes.
Right? And I mean, you know that. And so it feels like all these emotions, you're trying to figure out kind of what's going on. But you're so far away. And yeah, we have phones and FaceTime and the news and we still have everything, but we're still physically isolated from our people.
Yes. And
so that day, I go to get tested, right? Because we have to get tested. You gotta do your check-in. You gotta do your temperature. You gotta go through it. Otherwise, you get put in health and safety protocols. And I went to get tested, and I take my mask off. And I'm sure similar for you, same testing people kind of every day. Mm-hmm. You kind of got to know them. And it was in another room, and they had the TV on with CNN on, and there's everything talking about Jacob Blake. And I feel it bad. And so I'm really excited I get to tell you this because this makes me happy. So they ask me how I am, and I take my mask off to get tested. I just start crying. They don't know me. They have no idea what happened. They are like, "Are you okay?" All these things. And I was, crying. I feel a little shaky, and I'm just trying to point to the TV and try not to be a mess. And so that was probably the hardest day for me as a DJ to go to work. Because no matter what's happening, right? We know this as basketball players. As soon as you cross that line, you got to let everything go, and you got to do your job. So not
to a certain extent.
Yes, right, exactly. And so I'm really excited that I get to tell you this because I haven't been able to share this actually with any of you all, directly. I had made my mind up that in that really hard time, I always have your back. That's something that when we're going through Black Lives Matter and this massive social justice movement, which I believe was so timely, so important, is very necessary as somebody that's white to work for these incredible, predominantly Black men, to be honest with you, and to show up for you all and make sure that if y'all were going to show up for work, there's no way that I can't not show up for work. And so we go through that day, and I don't know what you remember, but I would love to hear it, right? And I know your patterns. I know your routines. I watch y'all. That's my job.
Yeah, because you got to know when we come up to warm up. You got to know we need our, our songs to get us going.
I know. And so I'm sitting there, and something's not right. And it's not my place to say anything. I don't. Mm. So we're on a headset all the time. So which means everybody from the NBA, we all communicate kind of what's happening, what's going on with the game.
Yes.
During this timeout, we're going to do this, this, and this. That's predominantly what that is used for. So we could communicate. Yes. And so its headset is silent. So I remember watching that clock from 20 minutes, 17 minutes, Orlando comes out, and they start warming up. 13 minutes, y'all aren't anywhere to be seen. 10 minutes, still not anywhere to be seen, right? And we know how this goes. So clock keeps going down, and I'm in my head, again, I've never been in a situation like this. So I'm still playing music. I don't even remember at that point when the clock was running. We hit zeros. And we still don't know what's happening, right? And it was extremely powerful. I'll be honest, I had a playlist prepared, which I was grateful for. What I felt was very appropriate because they still had me play music. It wasn't the same vibe, and it was very thoughtful and conscious of trying to make sure that I was doing that moment justice while still doing my job. And then all of a sudden Twitter is just going crazy. And that this is the craziest part. So, unbeknownst to me, we're in this massive arena, isolated. I have no idea anybody else in the, because we all have masks on, right? Like, you don't know who's who. I turn around and I see Chris Webber, C-Web, bawling his eyes out, crying. And I've never met this man. He doesn't know me. We're not friends. Like, I wish we were friends, but like, he doesn't know me. And he's just crying. And he was in the other zone that we're talking about. So he wasn't in our bubble. So literally like 6 inches of plexiglass separate us, like massive plexiglass. So we can't hear each other. Yes. And I look up, he makes eye contact with me. And literally in that moment, all I could do, like I touched my heart and just felt like I was just trying to like hug him, like send it to him. And that was the day in the bubble that I don't think it was the worst.
It was the worst day on the bubble. I don't. I left the bubble with the feeling of gratitude and just being blessed to be able to do what we do because of the incident that happened, because of us coming back to play, because of just me being with my brothers and just be able to experience this with my family. But what I would say is that day we all came together and we all came together. And then what happened after, it was in every sport. We all came together.
Y'all shook the world.
Yeah, I would say, and with guys who aren't on the team now or guys who were on the team, we have a bond with all these guys, and we understood that we stood for something.
Yeah.
And this is, and not for it's not for the. It's not just for the NBA fan. It's not for the fans. It's for our kids. They kind of remember, that we came back and we stood for something. And not only that, and then we stood for something else too. And then we stood for the sport itself because we came back and we played.
Yep.
And we played. We came back and we played and we finished what we were supposed to do. We tried, our best. Unfortunately, we didn't get to win the championship that year. We won the second year, the year after. But we did. We showed our love for the sport and for everybody because despite of how we were feeling, because I can tell you right now, not a lot of guys were feeling good.
Yeah.
But we tried our best, and it's so much more to it. But I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk mostly about you.
I appreciate you listening because it's an honor to be able to share that with you. Like seriously, because I'm grateful. Like it makes me I'm thankful for what y'all did for our city. Like you made a statement and you shook the world. And to say that I get to be your DJ and I get to know you on a different level, I think that I'm so grateful and lucky. I never take it for granted. But that was one of the most proud days of my life to say that like I'm a small part of what y'all are doing.
You are small and a big part of what we do every day on a daily basis.